Hey there, tech fans. Rick here again with another product that I think you're going to really like. It's the P501 portable power station from our friends over at Oukitel that is the perfect solution for all of your outdoor adventures. Whether you're heading out for a couple of days of camping, or maybe you're flying your drone and you're looking for a way to keep your drone batteries fully charged so you can extend your flying day, or maybe you're like me where you take a ton of thirsty electronics out in the field with you that constantly need to be recharged, this is the perfect solution for all of those situations and then some. Now, before I get too deep into the overview of the product, I always like to start with an unboxing just to show you exactly what's included with the kit, so if you purchase the product, you know what you're going to get. And then I'll start with the overview and explain all the connections and things you can charge from the product and how you can charge it as well. And then I'll come back and actually point out a few things that really make this product special that you can use to compare it to others you may be considering. So let's get started with the unboxing. When you first pop open the box, you'll find the P501 portable power station and an AC charging kit. Now this is used at home to recharge the unit, and depending on how discharged it is, when you start that charging cycle, could take a couple of hours to fully top off the unit. In that kit, you'll find an AC cord right here. This will plug into any standard wall outlet. The other end has a computer connector on it, which plugs into the side of the charging brick. Now the charging brick converts the AC from your home into a DC current that will actually charge the product, and this is a barrel connector which plugs right here on the front. You do have the option to use a solar panel assembly to charge it or a car charger to charge it, and you can buy both of those accessories from the company. And they'll plug right into that connection on the front. Also included with the kit is a full instruction manual with warranty information, connection diagrams, specifications, and everything you need to know about the P501 to take care of it and use it properly. Now let's take a closer look at the unit because I do a lot of reviews of portable power stations, and there's a couple of key things you have to keep in mind because what you've got essentially is a large battery. You're going to charge it at home with a lot of energy, a lot of electrons. You're going to take it out in the field, and then you need a way to be able to distribute those electrons to all of your devices. And different devices require different types of voltage and current and connections, and this product provides pretty much everything you'll ever need to connect any of your portable gear out in the field, including things that run on standard wall outlets. Now for starters, it's a 500 watt unit, which is about 518 watt hours of power inside there. And if you need to know what the milliampere hours are, it's 140,400 milliampere hours. So it's powerful. But the key thing is when you're looking for a portable power station like this, you want to make sure you find one that fits your needs, but isn't too big or too small for what you're going to use it for. So 500 watt is right in that middle, right in that Goldilocks zone of being just big enough where you can take it out for camping, a couple of days of use, and you're going to have plenty of power in the unit, but it's not so big that you're bringing it home with a little bit of extra charge in it, and that's something heavy you're carrying out in the field that you're not actually using. So 500 watt is right in that Goldilocks zone of being perfect balance between sort of capacity and weight taking it out in the field. It weighs around 12 pounds, so it's not light, but it's got a really nice leather strap on the top, which is really comfortable to carry it out in the field. Some of the other products in the market have a plastic strap on it, or they don't have a handle at all, and it makes it really difficult to take it with you. I also like the fact that the unit has got rounded corners where it's not going to get caught on things. So you could throw it in a backpack, put it in the back of your car. It's not going to get cracked or chipped if it bumps up against something else. Now on the front of the units where all the connections are made and where you actually can connect up all your portable devices, and there are three different sections. There's a DC section right here, which is basically going to deliver 12 volts through a car outlet. So if you've got a standard plug that you'll use in your car, you can plug it right in there. Below that is a barrel connection, which is a 5521. That's a very common connection. And you can buy external cables like this one, for example, that has a 5521 plug here, which plugs into that. The other end has another port you can use with anything you'd use in your car. So you can actually use two different devices on this at the same time. That's 10 amps of 12 volt current that comes out of that section. In addition to that, on the other side, you have two AC outlets right here. One is ungrounded, one is grounded. Those will support 500 watts of power, so you can plug any AC appliance in under 500 watts and run it off the unit. And that's great if you're bringing a lamp along or you're bringing something along that needs to be charged through another brick like a laptop or maybe your drone batteries. You'll plug them in right there. Then finally in the center is the USB connection ports, and there's a lot of them in there and they're really sophisticated. One thing I do want to point out before I talk about these is that each of these circuits can be turned on individually, and that's important because a lot of the other portable power stations on the market, there's one main power button where you turn everything on, which seems like a good idea, but if you're not using the AC and you're only going to plug in maybe a phone or something to charge it, you're wasting a lot of that energy that's stored in the batteries just keeping the inverter running that actually works there. One other thing I want to point out about the AC, which is critical, is that a lot of the units on the market have AC with a modified sine wave. Now that's a technical term, but what that means is if the sine wave is not a pure sine wave, by the way, this is a pure sine wave. If you've got a modified sine wave, it can really cause a lot of problems with modern electronics that are looking for that 60 cycles frequency out of the AC. This one uses a pure sine wave inverter, which means you're getting the cleanest and purest AC out of this unit. You'll have no problem charging your laptops or running sensitive electronics on it, maybe like a PAP machine and things like that, or CPAP machine. In the center here, you have USB connections, and that's the magic of it, because most of the devices you're going to plug in are going to plug in through a standard charging cable, whether it's an action camera, a tablet, a phone, or some other device that uses DC current that's usually supplied by USB, and they give you a wide collection of devices right here that you can plug in. So for starters, there's a USB-C port on here that's a power delivery, or PD, up to 100 watts. And that's super important because a lot of the portable power stations in the market may have a USB-C connection, but it might only be 30 watts or 20 watts or 50 watts. And if you're going to charge like a laptop or something bigger like drone batteries, for example, you need a higher current. So having 100 watts out of a PD port right there means you can plug a lot of different things in, including larger laptops, and charge it directly off that port. To the right of that is a USB-A port that's QC or Quick Charge 3.0 compatible. So if you've got some of the newer phones or the new tablets, or if you're running a Switch, one of the Nintendo Switches, you need to have a QC port to be able to charge off of it. They give you one right there. Below that are 4 standard USB-A ports. Each of those are 2.4 amps, which is a fast charging current, and that's the highest current you can get out of a standard USB port. So you've got 6 connections that, again, you can connect all of your portable devices up to the unit at the same time and charge all those thirsty portable devices without any fear of damaging the unit or damaging the devices. Now, one of the things I did want to point out about the battery delivery system in here is that Oukitel has built a better battery management system, which is electronics inside the unit that controls how the charge gets into it, but more importantly, how the charge that's stored in the unit gets distributed to your external devices. It has a very sophisticated battery management system, which means if I'm plugging something into the PD port, the PD port is going to look at the device I plugged into it and negotiate the best voltage and current to charge that device safely and quickly. And if I plug something into the QC port, it's going to negotiate separately for that port. So you can plug in a wide range of different devices at the same time, and the unit's going to be smart enough to know a tablet over here needs a certain current and voltage, this action camera needs a different current and voltage, and it's going to deliver those individually. A lot of the units on the market don't have that level of intelligence built in, which means not only will you damage or possibly damage the batteries internally when you're charging it, but you can also damage the sensitive electronics you're connecting up to it. And when you think about it, this unit is very reasonably priced, but what you're connecting up to it will be 5 or 6 times as more expensive than the unit itself. So you want to make sure that the battery management system built into any portable power station you're buying has that ability to sort of negotiate those different voltages. One other thing I wanted to point out too is there's a light up top here, and there's a button to turn that on. So you can click that button, the light will come on, and there's a couple of different modes for that light. You can put it in SOS mode, you can put it in bright, you can put it on blinking, and that's really handy if you're camping, because maybe you've got a flashlight with you, or you've got your phone with you, but having a portable power station where you're trying to connect cables up, turn that light on, hold your hand in front of it, you can see everything perfectly on the front and really easily make that connection. A couple other key things: there's a fan internally. The unit will run just fine with a lot of devices connected to it, but if you start drawing a lot of current out of the AC and have a few other devices connected, that fan may kick on to keep the batteries cool and the electronics cool, especially if you're out in the middle of the summer trying to use this product in a tent. It's nice to know that it's got cooling internally. You may also have that fan come on when you're charging it, because the internal battery management system not only regulates how the current flows out of the unit to charge external devices, but also how the current flows into the device to protect those batteries internally. Now, the internal battery structure is standard lithium polymer batteries, which will give you long charge cycles. You'll get tons of charges out of it, so you can keep it for years. You're not going to have issues with it. But the battery management system is smart enough to know if you're at a 50% charge, it'll need a different amount of current to bring that up to 100 than if you were down to a 10% charge. So everything you need to worry about is handled by that battery management system, which again protects not only the internal batteries, but anything you're going to connect up to it externally. One final point I want to make is the company built in an Mppt system. Now, you're going to hear that a lot if you decide to charge this from a solar panel. A lot of times if you're camping, you may want to bring a folding solar panel with you and set that up in the sunlight to charge this unit to extend the use of the product. Most of the products on the market don't have that internal regulation circuit, the Mppt. And the problem is, if you don't have that, solar panels, because of the different brightness of the sun and how you're facing it will have different voltages coming off that solar panel. And if the unit doesn't have that internal regulator built in, it doesn't efficiently use that energy. And you want to make sure that if you've set up a solar panel, you're going to get every ounce of energy out of that sunlight into the batteries to fully charge them. Knowing the unit's got an internal Mppt built into it means you're going to get the best use out of any solar panel you connect up to it. And again, it'll work with a wide range of solar panels that simply plug into the front of the unit. And I've used this out when I was camping with a solar panel, and it charges it really well, and it allows you to extend the use of the product for a couple more days. Now, if you stay tuned next, what I'm going to do is take a closer look at the unit, because it's hard to really see what I'm pointing to here, but I'll give you a closer look and point out the things that I just discussed a minute ago, and then I'll come back at the end and reinforce some of the things you should be keeping in mind when you're comparing this product to others you may be considering. The P501 features a very comfortable soft strap on the top, which makes it perfect to take out for a long afternoon in the field. On either side, you'll notice ventilation slots. Inside the unit is a fan that's temperature controlled. If the unit gets warm, it'll turn on and pull air through those slots to keep the electronics inside at a very comfortable temperature. On the bottom of the unit are 4 feet that protect it if you set it down on a rough surface. And on the front of the unit's where you'll make all your connections to both charge the unit and charge external devices from the unit. Now I'll start in the upper left-hand corner. You'll find an input port. That's used with the included power supply. You'll simply plug that into a wall outlet, plug the barrel connector in here, and that will start the charging cycle of the unit. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll find a light. There are 3 modes for the light. It can be on, flashing, or SOS. And by tapping this button, you can walk through those different choices and turn it off. Now down the bottom is where you'll make all your connections, and there are 3 different circuits. You have a 12-volt DC circuit, a USB circuit, and an AC circuit, and I'll go through these individually, but to turn these on, you'll tap the buttons above them. That's the main power button that turns the entire unit on. And I'll start with the 12-volt DC circuit. You'll find a cover over a convenience outlet. This is the exact same type of outlet you'll find in your car, so anything you charge in your car, you can plug right in there, and you'll be able to charge it directly from the product. Below that is a 5521 port, and that's used with an external cable for a bunch of different devices, and that's a very common port. You can find cables that'll turn that into another convenience outlet. Other cables can turn that into a USB-C connection, so you can charge modern phones and other devices, and those are available as aftermarket products. Both of these supply 12-volt DC at 10 amps. On the right-hand side is where you'll make your connections for AC products. Again, anything you plug into a wall outlet under 500 watts, you can use these 2 connections here for. The top one is ungrounded, so if you've got a cord that has 2 plugs in it, you'll plug it in there. If you have a grounded cord, you'll plug it in the bottom. And again, this is 120 volts, 60 hertz, and it's a pure sine wave output. And that's very important because a lot of these units have a modified sine wave and it's not as good. So pure sine wave over here, again, 500 watts between them. In the center is where you'll make all of your standard USB connections. I'd mentioned before the PD outlet. That's 100 watts of power delivery current that can come out of there, or power can come out of there, so you can charge laptops and other thirsty portable devices there. To the right is a QC connection. That's a QC 3.0 or Quick Charge 3.0. Any device you have that uses the QC standard, you can plug it in there. It'll fast charge that device. Below that are 4 USB-A connections, which are standard connections you'd use for other phones, tablets, and portable devices. Each of these will supply 5 volts DC at 2.4 amps, which is the highest current available on a standard USB connection. Now we'll take a closer look at the large display on the top. Currently, I've turned the unit on by tapping that button, and none of the circuits are activated yet. But if I want to use the DC 12-volt circuit, I'll tap this button, it'll beep, and you'll see 2 indicators come on, letting me know this circuit is now active. You'll see CAR for this port and DC 12 volt for the 5521 below it. If I want to turn on the AC, I'll tap that one. The AC indicator comes on. And finally, to turn on the USB, I'll tap that button, and it's showing me the USB is on currently. It's going to beep a few times when you first turn on the USB because it's running an internal self-test against all the circuitry inside there. Now, once these circuits are active, you'll have 2 indicators of what kind of current is flowing into the unit and out of the unit. When you're charging it, you'll see an input current indicated on the top and an output current on the bottom. So if I connect up a few devices here now, you'll notice that output current go up, and that's a great measure to show you how much power is still left in the unit against what you're using out of the unit. To turn on the light, you'll tap this button once, it turns on. Tap it again, you'll see it flashes, and it's in an SOS pattern. Tap it again, it just continues to flash, and the 4th time turns it off. I hope that closer look was helpful. Now, this is my favorite part of any review I do of a product, where I get a chance to point out some of the things that really separate this product from others on the market, sort of bragging rights, if you will, for this particular product. And this has got a few hidden features that are really important. So for starters, I'd mentioned before the battery management system. That is really critical, that you have a solution that has a really strong battery management system to protect the batteries internally when you're charging it. And again, probably more importantly, protect all of the external devices you're connecting up to it so you don't damage those devices. This is incredibly sophisticated in knowing that if it's got multiple devices connected to it, especially through the USB, it's going to sort of interrogate those devices to figure out what voltage and current this device needs compared to this device and deliver exactly the right amount of voltage and current to those two devices. Another key thing, which is something you definitely want to look for in a product like this, a portable power station, is that Mppt circuit, because maybe you'll initially charge it at home and take it out with you camping, but I promise you over time, you're going to want to invest in a solar panel to take with you to be able to charge it when you're out there in the field. And if you don't have an Mppt built into the unit, it's going to be a little clumsy to charge it. It's not going to get full efficiency out of that solar panel. Maybe some solar panels have that built in, but they're more expensive. Knowing it's inside the unit means you're ready to go. You can connect up any solar panel virtually to the front of the unit and you'll be able to recharge it. I love the fact that with the USB connections, you've got a USB-C connection on there, which is PD at 100 watts. A lot of the portable power stations in the market, again, offer a USB-C port, but it's a low power port. And if you just see it and go, oh, it's got a USB-C port on it, you won't really get full value out of it. So having a really powerful USB-C port on there means you can charge a lot of different devices that are larger and thirstier, like laptops and portable gaming systems, and a lot of other devices nowadays, like drone batteries, that require at least a 65-watt port. Next to that, I've got a QC port. So I've not only got the ability to charge quick charge devices that are PD compliant, but also QC compliant as well. So I've got Android devices or Apple devices, or I've got drone batteries. All those use different standards, and I've got them covered here with both those ports. In addition to that, I've got 4 more USB-A ports that I can use for standard devices like action cameras or older phones or older tablets to charge those at the highest current rate possible. So all those things being equal, I think really puts this in a class itself compared to other products in this price range. And that's something I haven't talked about yet. This is a very reasonably priced product for the amount of features, capacity, battery management system, Mppt built in, all of the ports I talked about in the front. I think you're going to be hard pressed to find a product like this at a lower price pretty much anywhere. So that's pretty much all I had for today. Now, I appreciate you watching. If you're interested in this product, I've got a link below where you can go to Amazon, you can check it out and see if it's something you're interested in and compare it to other products over there. I love doing these kind of reviews, and portable power stations in particular are something that I'm really fascinated with, and I love investigating them because there's a lot of technology that go into these products that I hope I was able to explain today in this clip. So thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you back here again soon, and until next time, stay nerdy.